Hello YouTube, iFixItAll here, Team iFixItAll. If you're receiving this transmission, you are the resistance. The answer to 1984 is 1776. Look, I've got one of these drills here, cordless drill. Pretty familiar in the world of cordless drills nowadays. Craftsman with a V20 lithium battery, standard issue, one each. Model number is Charlie Mike Charlie Delta 700 Type 2. I've since found out that this is the same as similar model numbers, but mine has a trouble where when you pull the trigger, the chuck doesn't spin and it sounds like shit's grinding away and doing crazy shit. Well, here's the root cause in that. Here's what happened. But I believe the root cause is this high-speed, low-speed switch and its interdependency on location in order to preserve the functionality of your gearbox. The gearbox that's between the electric motor and your working in the drill. And here's what happened. So I've got this planetary gear system here, and you'll see that as I lift this gear out, there's a tooth missing. And it has its dedicated pin that it sits on. This one here, it's a little worn out, but it's intact, no missing teeth. And then this one here is floating around with its pin still inside of it. And teeth are missing. So the the part is called a transmission assembly, I believe. And the purpose of this video is I found out why the drill wasn't functioning. Now that I see I've got a stripped gear, but what caused it to fail, and I believe it's this right here. This is the item that, let me try to put this back on here. There's a little critical piece part that needs to do a JOB. Let me see if I can get it in here. Just about got it. Voila. Got it. Okay. So this is your speed control. And it rides on a little aluminum groove fork that moves this from one set of gears to another. There's a double stack of planetary gears down inside here. I'll show you in a sec. But what that does is translate this gear out to this up here, which spins your chuck at a different RPM. Think of this as your shifter fork inside your standard drive transmission. And think of this as your stick shift. And if I place it where it needs to be, you as the user are flipping that this away and that. Hang on. There we go. You've selected slow 1 or 2. 1 or 2. And I believe that the reason why this planetary gear pin broke is because I had the shifter by way of just using the drill, this part moved slightly and it was in between gears. With this slid all the way back, with this in speed number 2, I'm going to try to turn this output gear here. Watch the fan blade inside the electric motor. See how it's turning? And now if I shift backwards to a different gear ratio, let me get a different pair of pliers. Where's the pliers that I'm looking for? There they are, my van pliers. Okay. And get that right there. It's a different speed for a half a turn. Oops, I'm not engaged. I'm going to shift to the other speed. And go back. I'm not seeing the difference. Hang on. This shouldn't make a difference having it in or out, I wouldn't think. Maybe it does. It's just a retainer ring. No, it's too jacked up. Here's my theory on why I think this broke. I was in midpoint here grabbing high and low together, and there was some grinding going on and jamming, and that's what happened. Because it's the way this is designed, it's designed to slide inside of a couple of grooves on the drill casing, and it depends on friction of the plastic to go and display 2 or 1. But it could easily vibrate. And I believe that they've tried to add some friction to it by adding this metal clip here. I just noticed one of these tabs are a little jacked up. There we go. I'm thinking they depended on this to be the friction lock. What I'm doing right here. So if you end up in a situation where you're noticing your drill is... Let me look and see if there's a provision for that clip. The detent. Yeah, that's what's going on. So they depend on this plastic tab here to heavily keep this, to keep this set on 1 or 2. But if you've drifted just slightly, check your tool, because the location of that carries this shifting fork, because it's every little minute bit matters. If you'll watch. I'm going to take this out. This is probably going to go everywhere. I hope not. There's the shifting fork. Right here. You see it's like a little bail. That pushes this outer ring from here to there. Let me get that locked in and oriented. There we go. So watch this. If I've got it pulled all the way back, if I've got it pulled back, that's position 1. Okay. That's slipping for some reason. Something's really jamming up in here. Hang tight. Alrighty, I'm back. I had to separate this plastic portion from the electric motor, and I noticed there was a couple of tabs you can pry on right here to pop the assembly out, because I was having a second thought on this as to why it failed. Naturally, this whole thing would disintegrate. Put that right there. That right there. Lift this out. And of course all those come apart too. See if I can get lucky for once. Hell no. I didn't get lucky that much. Put that there. Okay. The order of which they go in. Okay, so it all boils down to your, I was not wrong. The selector part, oh yeah, that's right. There's this bail here. Anyway, you all remember that. There's a bail in here. This is your shifter. This is the ring that selects your high or low speed. And it's supposed to sit in this little this metal bail. In this little metal bail, I'll reassemble it so you'll see. Hang tight. All right, so the reason why I had to take a break is I was trying to figure out what was going on with this selector here. Because this button sits there up top exposed for your use for a speed control 1 or 2. And I was trying to figure out, how do they assemble that from the factory? How do they get the job done? How do they get this together? And I realized I had to take this white plastic piece off of the electric motor to be able to factory assemble it proper. So we already know this button here controls this bail. Well, that bail is supposed to be in a groove right here. This little bail. And mine was behind it. My bail was just floating behind it. It's like this. So as I moved the button, I would get some motion out of it. I'm simulating moving the button. Hard to explain, but if this pops out of the bail, then you're going to be in between gearbox selections right here. Because this ring, there's so many of these little gears. This kind of tedious work does require a degree of tolerance and patience. I can tell which side goes which direction because this is the side that's always engaging and disengaging, so it must orientate like this. This side being toward the front of the drill. But this is the selection that I pick. That means this front group of gears is in play. Then if I slide back further, it includes both, which gives me a different speed control. These gears here are being driven by the electric motor. And depending on what speed I pick, tells me if I'm going to be on high speed or low speed. So this is the key right here. This piece, of course it fell all apart. This piece right here needs to be, the groove on this needs to be occupied by that little bail. Right, like you sucker. That snaps that way. That goes like this. Okay. I've got the bail in the groove. And this entire assembly now will follow the lever up top. So I'll pause it and assemble it partially, and I'll show you. Okay, I'm back, and if you watch, I move the lever. That's able to move up and down to select both gearboxes or just one. That's by using your little button selector. And to redo this once more, I will say that the only way you can get this gear back in the bale is to disconnect it from the electric motor back here, where there's a couple of tabs. You got to pry on the tabs and pop it away. I don't even know where it's keywayed at. There we go. Right now I've got to force feed this entire assembly back onto the electric motor because there's a couple of tabs there I've got to take advantage of. But my lesson learned here is the metal bale that drives this gear popped out. And it put me in this situation right here. I had the metal bale simply behind the gear. So when I would move the lever, the button up top here, forward, well, I would pull the button back, pull the button back to select one speed control. It would push this gear forward because the bale is in back of the gear. And then when I would select another speed, it would probably walk back due to some sort of centrifugal force to make me think I was in position 2. Well, the distance from having your bale in this groove versus back there is a lot of distance as far as this lateral movement of this drive gear here. And that's probably what caused the forward section of gears up inside the chuck here to obliterate and break one of these off of its own pin. That's what I'm thinking. That's my theory, is because my yeah, that definitely wasn't even connected to the drive gear. It was just pushing it along as I selected something. I'm really surprised that that little bale survived. Alright guys, talk to you later. Boring video, but that's what happened. I called Sears, and while I was on one of my pauses, I called Sears and got a hold of Nicholas Vasquez Perez out of Colombia. Apparently, he said, of course, he asked me for the model number and all that, but he said, flip the drill over and give me the date code on your drill. And there be a date code. Mine is 2020 space 36-52P. And with that being said, he told me the drill's under warranty. So during one of my pauses I had done, because since I knew what the problem was, I thought, well, let me go ahead and see if I can find the part. I found a company in California that claims they have a transmission for this unit, which I assume that's what that is this entire transmission assembly that gets the electric motor to drive the chuck. But I don't know. Nicholas Vasquez Perez says since they didn't have just a drill in stock, that this thing's under warranty. They're just going to send me a whole new drill and battery and charger. So I don't think there's anything to fix here. It actually looks like there is a opportunity to harvest the good parts and put them in their appropriate bin. Maybe I'll bag this stuff up and have it on standby for spares for my new drill. But it's most likely my new drill is going to fail in the same area. This little shifter bail here is going to pop out of place. Maybe to I've dropped the drill before. Maybe I lost the proper connection of this bail when I dropped the drill last time. I know I haven't thrown it, but I have physically dropped it before. But guys, your drive gear right there has to be in that bail. And if it's not, then that's why your drill failed. See ya. Bye.